Well, karibu sana. My name is Shiko Kaitani. Today I am sitting in for Paul Mngalambuvi, but that doesn't mean that you cannot contribute and, of course, participate towards our ongoing conversation right here on the Breakfast Show. Remember, you can catch us as at K24 TV on Instagram, Facebook, as well as Twitter. The WhatsApp number is at the bottom of your screen should you also wish to use that. So karibu sana as we discuss agreeing to disagree this time around. Well, it is a term, if you will, used to resolve a conflict of some kind, usually between two people. It means that both parties have decided to accept the other person's point of view without actually agreeing to it. Now, they say that to protect your relationship from unresolved hurt, frustration, and resentments, agreeing to disagree is an actual communication skill. So let's try to understand this further and even know in which ways to apply it in your particular relationship, right? So joining me this morning is one George Kimani. He's no stranger to the show. He is a counselor with us. George, welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much, Madam Shiko.
Mary Joseph is here with us as a life coach as well as an artist. Mary, hi.
Yes. Hi, Shiko.
Yes. Tell us about this artistry and how a life coach gets together.
Yeah, of course, being an artist, I'm a gospel artist, of course, going by the name Mary Joseph. And also going out there and meeting so many people, you cannot just be empty. You have to have something that can propel a person's life to be better, of course. And I think deep down me, I'm more of a motivational speaker. I like motivating people to be better, encouraging people to be better. And I always have this slogan that giving up is never an option in life.
Right.
Yeah, and you have to make somebody's life brighten up each and every morning if you have the chance to do so. And I believe everybody has a chance every day to make another person's life better.
Amen to that.
Yes.
And of course, George, still very passionate, obviously, about counseling people, helping people get through their issues. And so we're happy to have you back again on the show. Let's start off with your definition of what we mean by agreeing to disagree.
Thank you so much. It's always a joy to be here.
Yeah.
And to create an impact, as my colleague has said, it is always a golden opportunity. Now, agreeing to disagree is a form of communication, as you have well put it. And it refers to a situation where you choose that I will no longer argue about the difference in the opinion. So it comes when I have an opinion and my colleague has a different opinion from mine. And initially, we start now discussing and exchanging our views to see whether we could come to a common ground.
Right.
But as we do it, we realize this person may not change their opinion, may not change their position. And if we continue arguing, if we continue talking about it, it will become an argument. And an argument is characterized by by some heat, some spirited exchange, which, if not checked, can generate to anger.
Yeah.
So to avoid that, we simply decide I'm not going to argue anymore because I've realized that the other person will not change their position to agree with mine.
But Mary, if you think about it from the way George has described it, does it mean that there's a personality flaw in an individual? Because if I'm arguing with you and you won't change your stand and I will not change my stand, one of us is thinking the other person has a problem. You're like, you know what, fine, we've agreed to disagree, but deep down, I'm probably looking at it like Mary honestly has a problem.
One thing is for sure, this all comes it's very hard for people to accept change. That is something we have to say. Because agreeing to disagree, amidst of that, there is change. And it's very hard. At times, it's not easy for people to embrace change. And also, there's something I have to say. It's a fact that disagreeing and agreeing in life, it's a common thing. From a family setup, to a friendship setup, to a relationship setup, to a marriage setup, this is something that we live with daily. You cannot agree with somebody from January to December. It is very hard, to be honest. Most likely, at the end of it all, you will disagree on something. But that does not mean that disagreement should result into a conflict. The way you handle matters a lot. And I wouldn't say that somebody, if he or she disagrees every time, that they have a flow in life, like it's a flow. I would say that is a common thing in life. Agreeing to disagree, it's so common.
Yeah.
Even our kids, I'm a mother. At times, you know, the time that we are nurturing kids right now, at times that kid will tell you something and you're like, this one knows. It's not like the days that you are like, if you refuse to do something, you'll be beaten up, Nikki Boko. Right now, at times we discuss with our kids, and so you find disagreeing to agree, it's something that is so common. So I wouldn't say that somebody has a flow just because maybe you are disagreeing with me every time or you're agreeing with me. It's very hard for you to agree with somebody throughout. You might, but there's something, they won't lack a minute you feel like, this one, I disagree. So I wouldn't call it it's a flow.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, it's a common thing.
Okay, thanks for that, Mary and George. Let's just share our question of the day with our viewers as we move along. Of course, we want you to start talking to us. We're asking, have you ever faced an issue in your relationship that you and your partner failed to agree on? Have you ever faced an issue in your relationship that you and your partner fails to agree on? Start talking to us. Of course, if you do have any kind of question that you'd like to pose to George and Mary, they're definitely here on set as the experts to guide you in terms of your relationship, okay? So speaking about matters of the heart, obviously, George, picking up on what Mary just said, that this is inevitable. Do you find it strange that there are some people who say that no, this is not normal for us to disagree? So disagreements are normal. It is the order of life.
Yes, I totally agree with what Mary has said. Actually, we normally say, if you agree from January to December, one of you is not thinking independently.
Really?
One of you is not thinking.
Oh, okay.
And actually, we can go ahead and say one
Yeah.
of you is not important in that relationship.
Hiya.
Because none of us is 100% complete. I need my wife or my partner or whoever we are in a relationship to agree with me sometimes when I'm right, and at some point to disagree. Whether I will accept with I will agree their disagreement or not, but I need someone who can tell me, oh, wrong, these are the decisions you have been making. I think they are right. But on this one, I think you are wrong. So if you find that you never disagree, something is wrong. Now, agreeing to disagree or even disagreements coming up, it is a normal thing which you cannot avoid because it is brought about by a myriad of very many factors.
Okay.
Factors such as our brain structure, how God created us. We have different levels of intelligence. There are people who understand things very fast. There are other people who understand slowly. So if I've already understood the point and yourself you have not understood, then at that point we will not agree.
Correct.
But given time, all of us will eventually converge to the point of agreement. Issues to do with how we are brought up,
Yeah.
the culture, the
Correct.
environment in which we are.
Yeah.
So there are many, many issues that contribute to disagreement. And that's why we normally say that the beauty is on the eye of the beholder.
Okay.
And you're not supposed to see the other person as having a flaw now that they have not disagreed with you.
Okay.
It's my opinion. I'm entitled to it.
Yeah.
And it's your opinion. You're entitled to it. And none of us is wrong. All of us are right. It's only that we are seeing things in a different perspective. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I mean, you can add on to that,
Yes.
but at the same time,
Yeah.
what would you say about people who are constantly disagreeing?
There must be an issue. If you're constantly disagreeing every time, there must be an issue because there cannot lack a time that you can really agree. Because I believe, especially I come to marriage, especially because I think right now marriages we have a notion in the world right now, marriages, divorces are so many right now, people are separating and there are so many conflicts going on. And I would say that you find in marriage, and to add on that before I answer, like if you find that you are agreeing from January to December, most of the time, there must be somebody who is so superior than the other.
There's some power play going on.
Definitely, exactly. So there is no way you can argue with this person, because if you try to argue, my friend, you have to know your place, you know?
Right.
Yes, I'm the one who says in this, even if like maybe for a husband, he is the one, he's the head of the family, but that does not exempt the wife from making decisions or even giving out an opinion about the same. Like now, he would come and say he wants to take a loan of 10 million, and the wife knows very well this thing will take us to a bush somewhere.
Yes.
So she feels like, no, George, you cannot do this. But he feels like, my friend, I am the head of the family.
Yeah.
And I know how I'll go about this to pay. But the wife has a different opinion. We can do something else rather than taking this loan. But because he feels like, who are you to talk to me? You know? And that is something, because in marriage you find there is that portion of a superiority complex and an inferiority complex. That happens in marriages. And another thing also, when before you get married, maybe you find maybe in a relationship, you are agreeing with so many things. But when you get in there, you find maybe I love basketball. He loves football. When it comes to World Cup, he wants to watch throughout all the time, maybe. And maybe for me, football, it is not my thing.
Yeah.
So you'll be like, now you are in football every time, you're not giving us time. You find people arguing because of even the petty things, some things like those ones. Or even other things in life. There's so many things that people can argue about because what you like, your dislike might be not my, it might be my like are your dislikes. Your dislikes are my likes. So agreeing and disagreeing will always come. The issue is, how do people handle the disagreements when they come in and the conflict when they come in? How you handle is the issue.
How to handle is the issue. There's so many things, I mean, all around. The things to make you decide, even how to parent. George would say that. At times you find people are parenting differently. This one believes a child should be scolded. Anafaa kuchapwa. Disciplinarian.
The other person is like, utashindwa kuchapa mtoto kwani nini? Wachana na yeye. Ama there is this person of, let's talk. There is other person of kuchapa, of which kuchapa mtoto haifai kutoka completely. You know, there is a way you find even parenting is an issue. Na wanakosana hapo katikati because you are parenting differently, I'm parenting differently.
Right.
It's about of how do you want to parent? As you're the father, I'm the mother. How can we parent? Right now I can see people even co-parenting. They're not together, but they are parenting, which is very interesting. So the things to disagree in life, there are very many.
All right.
Just tackling a few.
Yeah. Well said. George, what does that actually say to your partner, your spouse, your better half, if you don't come into that relationship as an individual? You know, the way you've just put it across, there's a power play issue in most cases, right? But how does it work out for me as an individual who has no opinion? I don't talk back, I don't say anything. My partner atanibeba aje if I don't have an opinion on anything, I don't disagree with anything, I'm just there.
You know, when people come together, there is what we call the essentials and the non-essentials. And this issue of agreeing or disagreeing is even founded in the Bible, because the Bible tells us that two cannot walk together unless they agree.
Yes.
So there are some things that we need to have agreed with my wife before we form that relationship. Now, those things that we have agreed and we have identified them as core, if a disagreement arises, that now becomes a problem. But there are some other things we never agreed. And if a disagreement arises, any one of us should give room to the other one to express their opinion. Like in my case, when we had our wedding in church, I think the only thing we agreed with my wife is love. I will love you in times of this, in times of this, in times of this. But we never agreed on some things like I will always support this political side, I will always love this game. Those are non-issues. And therefore, we should not put it that you must always agree with me. So people should be given a space to express their opinion.
And
however,
for those who don't even allow the other person to give their or express themselves, what does that say?
Now that is wrong. And is what now my sister has alluded here called inferiority complex. You feel like when this person expresses their opinion, it's like they are undermining you.
Right.
But you need to appreciate that all of us, we are created in a unique way. And one of the advantages of allowing people to express their opinions is that it helps you to understand yourself better, and it also helps you to understand the other person. So take time to listen. But unfortunately, there are some people who will hear none of any argument or any view that is contrary to what they are saying. You try to talk and you are opposing their view, they just silence you. Now that is wrong. It is failure to appreciate that we are different. And actually, our differences are not bad. Actually, they say it is like ingredients in any component of food. Difference is good. And it sustains. We actually say it makes life better. When you see things in a different way and I see them in a different way, life looks good. Look at even how now this room is. The way
Right,
you
you
are dressed,
with
the
your
way I'm-
Ankara
colors. It looks
pink,
nice. You can imagine if all of us agreed on the color.
on black.
Yes, on black. It is also the foundation of business.
Yes.
You know, business is about buying and selling.
Right.
And how business takes place is when two people are given a commodity like this one. One thinks it is time to sell, and another one thinks it is time to buy. And as a result, there is business.
There's a
But if all of us were to think it is time to sell, there will be no one to buy. If all of us were to think it is time to buy, there will be no one to sell.
Right.
So people must come to a point of accommodating each other's views.
Wow.
Exactly.
And accommodating does not mean you will eventually agree with them.
Yeah,
Yes, does
that
not
is very
mean.
true.
And doesn't make you a fool.
It
Yeah,
doesn't.
exactly.
Maybe and George, let me just follow my director's lead here because he wants us to recap the question of the day so that we can also give our viewers an opportunity to send in their questions or their feedback on today's discussion. We're asking, have you ever faced an issue in your relationship that you and your partner failed to agree on? And if you're looking, by the way, for a solution on how you can just find middle ground, why don't you ask Mary and, of course, George this particular morning through that SMS number, or at least our WhatsApp number, if that's easier for you, or should you wish to get in touch with us through our social media platforms at K24 TV is how you can reach us. We'll be sampling those in just a few. Mary, getting back to you very quickly, and just as usual, you know, we are building up as we move along.
Definitely.
Now, there's this thing they call premarital counseling, right?
Yeah.
And for believers, non-believers, whatever, we are told that these are some of the things that are very important because George said there are non-issues and there are issues. But these are some of the things that we discuss prior
Yeah.
to getting into it. Why don't we invest in that? The discussions, because I hear even in, and anyway, as a gospel artist, I'm sure you're very active in the church.
Very much.
So I hear even in premarital counseling, it's as crazy as, what are your expectations about money? How many times do you want to have sex in a week? Those are the hard questions you have to answer.
Yeah,
And you're
exactly.
like, whoa.
Yeah.
So why don't we ever ask the hard questions before we get in? So that we stop these disagreements.
There is an issue here. When people are dating, let me first there. At times, there is this slogan of kuficha white. At times, many behave like they are not the real them until they get into marriage, and you're like, hey, kumbe this person can raise a voice on me, yeah? Kumbe this person this lady can be like this, you know? At times, people know their real partners later in marriage, and I would advise those who are dating right now, be yourself.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
Ask those questions.
Ask those questions. Even in premarital counseling, we tackle a lot. I might not maybe say a lot of the identities I have out there, but I think I handle a lot of people are under me, and I
you
advise
hear crazy things.
very much,
Wow.
very much. And I would say openly, because I know many are watching, I'm a mother to many. Spiritually and around, I nurture very many people. And even, you know, in premarital counseling, we talk even about communication. In fact, that is the most, if it was in school, I would say the most tackled unit in the premarital counseling. And we tackle a lot. Sex, we tackle communication a lot.
Finances.
And let me tell you, when you're counseling somebody, they'll be like, oh, okay, and it's like it has gotten into their ears, into their minds, and into deep inside them, and it's like they will apply them until you realize even the people who passed through premarital counseling, they're still suffering because of communication, because along the way somebody decided not to follow what maybe they learned because of their own way of like I just want to be myself,
right?
Let me be you know. But those things most of the time they are tackled a lot, and I would say in many institutions, many churches, they are tackled. But the issue is later people forget what they learned. People just, at times, I would say even people decide not to follow that.
Yeah.
And others don't go through premarital counseling. And I would say, even without that, if kama munapendana na mtu, you're in love with the person, you've decided to settle, these are common things that you should know. You know that you are working, I'm working, or either of us. There is money issues. Communication, we have been communicating. You know, Shiko, when people are dating, they would talk over the phone for 4 hours before they sleep.
And then when they are married,
they have a lot to talk about. When they are married, they are there, they can talk. But even a holiday, maybe they will not even call each other.
Absolutely.
And they're like, in the evening, even a hi, so si ninakupata tu jioni, like,
like what's the big deal?
Yeah, it's like a boring attitude that comes in, something like a spice.
Inaitwa kuzoeana.
Kuzoeana, you know? But these things are tackled in premarital counseling, and I would wish everybody would ask a question, whatever question you have. Because these topics are readily, the ones that are tackling, they are ready to tackle them.
Yeah.
Out of
and by the way, I'm told by the experts such as yourselves.
Yes.
It gets down to the basics.
Yes.
Things that you hardly believe that even a counselor would ask you.
Yes.
How many times do you expect to be intimate in a week?
Exactly.
And by the way, it's a thing.
Yes.
Because if you want 4 times in a day and me, I'm nishazoea once in a month.
Exactly.
Hapo
Kukwaruzana vibaya sana kwanza. Yeah.
What are your saving habits? Ebu tell me, do you save money ama you're a spender?
Exactly.
Tell me what you like to do every week.
Exactly.
So those are the basics.
Yes, and that way you're able to know your partner even before you settle for marriage. You're able to know. And there's something I always advise the people that maybe they're around me and I nurture them. And especially when you're in a relationship, stretch them. Make sure even if it's a date, be late.
Right?
For 30 minutes or 1 hour.
Are they the people who stop off?
If utampata ako hivi, he will be angry.
Yes.
How far can he be angry?
Right.
What can he do? Will you find that like he's not even talking to you? For the first 30 minutes, you're just taking tea and you're like looking at each other. Now you will know, even in marriage, if you mess him up or mess her up, siku tatu hautaongeleshwa.
That's true.
You will know.
You will know.
Just if you're able to stretch them.
To
To know hasira zinaweza fika wapi. What can they do?
Oh my goodness. Are you bold enough to actually apply what Mary is saying this morning? Stretch that person, by the way, just to know who you're actually dealing with. Because anyway, they say that you don't change, right? And old habits die hard. So we're asking, have you ever faced an issue in your relationship that you and your partner fails to agree on? Please be open with us. Talk to us. If you have any questions, by the way, this is an open space, okay? Mary is here as well as George is here to answer some of the questions that you have. Let's take that short commercial break, and then when we get back, I actually want to understand, why do they say men are from Mars and women are from Venus? How come that patanangi, by the way? We'll talk about that in just a moment. Stick with us.